Yes, Dr. I can
Okay.
see.
Awesome. All right. So that after a very whirlwind introduction to programming, we've done the build. I've done the introduction. We did the robots. We did the programming, and now it comes down to now we sit back and say, so what now? Where are we going? And I heard a couple of questions was, so where do we start? I think a very good place to start is to have a plan. Decide what are we going, and you must always keep reality in mind. But what are we going to do with what we have and with who we know? And so let's start like that and say, where do we proceed from here? So one of the things that we've got is we've got resources for educators and we've got competitions for the learners. And remember, you as educators are not competing in competitions. It's your learners that are competing. You are going to be the coach to the team. And one of the questions I ask is, so your school does have a tennis team and a hockey team and a chess team. So why does your school not have a robotics team? Ideally, your school should have like a under 9 robotics team, or under 10 robotics team, or under 11, whatever the age groups are. But maybe we can work towards it. Okay, so for this session, it's really about setting and meeting your goals, because robotics needs to be sustainable. It's very sad for us when the schools start all gung-ho with robotics and then it just fizzles out. And there's no such thing as we haven't got enough material. There's more than enough material, but you've got to say, where am I now? So I'm the grade 3 teacher. I'm going to do robotics with my grade 3. So that's my goal. What are your goals for this year? And remember, your learners age. The teachers never age, only the children that age, but they're going to age. So what is your 3-year vision? Are you going to continue with those learners to grade 7? Or for high school, are you going to continue from grade 8, grade 9? And where are you going to take them when they get to matric? A hit and run option is actually not okay. It really must be sustainable. And then who's on your team? And it's very easy to say, oh, I'm challenged with this. I don't have robotics. There are options. I don't have resources. There are free resources. I don't have the training. The training is free. So you need to put plans in place, ding, 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 to address these goals. All right. And if you have a lack of training, join us. If you have a lack of support, let us know. This is a community that will share. All right. So you've got to have your vision for your robotics in your school. Your learners, what grades are they now? Are you equipped? Where's your learning? Are you going to ongoing learning and you learn something and then share it? And don't underestimate the support, your support system. You need other educators to join you, maybe some community leaders. I know there are several community groups doing amazing work. Aldo's, Orange Farm, in communities with learners, and kudos to you guys. There are science centers that are doing phenomenal work with raising robotics teams. Amazing, just amazing. And then you've got parents and friends, friends of your school, friends of your community center, friends who want to get involved. And then decide what resources you need to reach your long-term goals. All right. You've got to have a vision. It's not just, it's got to be your vision. It's your vision. You've got to grab it. All right. So what I'm going to share with you now is I'm going to tell you kind of what there is there available, and what you might need. And then we're going to have another session, and I'm going to ask you, so what do you really need and what do you really use? Do you like using tutorials? Do you like using the YouTube videos? It's all there, but not everybody uses everything. And a lot of people like downloads. There are learning, what do you call them? Teaching plans and activities and other activities. And you'll see now there are competitions. There's a whole year of competitions. We can keep those learners busy for the whole year. All right. So there is an article called Accessible Educational Resources for Teaching and Learning of Robotics. It's not a South African version, but it kind of gives us a good framework in which we are now pursuing the development of resources, and we are trying to get the resources tailor-made for us, for South Africa and for Southern Africa, to address the learner needs of Southern Africa, maybe Northern Africa as well, but Africa, let's go there. All right. So there are some resources that are sequential. So there are like courses, so massive open online courses or MOOCs. they're accessible, but you've got to do unit 1, and then you've got to do unit 2, and then 3, and then 4. There's short learning programs. There's a 15-week program. You've got to do week 1, and then you do week 2, and so there's a sequence in that, and then you get to an exam, and then you get a certificate, and then you carry on. Okay, but there are also some really cool robotics resources that are just totally random, and you can kind of watch when you want to. So TEDx is a good inspiration. For inspiration, if you watch TEDx videos, there are some really cool TEDx videos. YouTube videos and online tutorials. And my favorite is Builder Dude 35, and he has grown up. So he started in about 2015 with robotics tutorials, and you'll see the ones he developed in 2015 as a very young boy, and as he grows older, he gets older. And then there's resources that support practical doing and teaching, and that's where the competitions come in. So let me quickly unpack all this. All right. So in terms of sequential access, there are the UNISA MOOCs, the massive open online courses. There are more courses that are over a wide. You are welcome to do all of them. They are open for everybody. Okay. But the M1, M2, M3, so M1 is your basics. M2 is kind of the next when we do sensors. M3 is more strategy. And I've got a robotics competition in M3. So by the time you come to M3, you can do a robotics competition with your learners. And then M4 is kind of more advanced stuff, which we're going to publish soon. Then for just interest, but as a combination of robotics and environmental science, so this is a combination of how do you use robots to address the environmental catastrophes of our world. And Tumelo and I are busy organizing that one. We're on pilot mode, and we should hopefully be published by next week, which will be really cool if we can get that right. Then there's the cyber safety MOOC, downloadable material, 5 languages. You can download the material, you can use the material. It's all available. You can use it as much as you like. Okay. The one that's now under construction is our ICET Robotics in Python, where we introduce the basic Python, and then kind of work towards using the robotics or the robots then to develop Python learning. We're speaking to our engineering departments, and we've got 3 potential engineering MOOCs there, where they say, okay, so how does engineering, the career, adapt to the 4th Industrial Revolution? Okay. Also on the MOOC portal, which I think we've discussed at length now, there's the DBE 001 and DBE 002. It's open for all educators. You can go for it. DBE 001 is digital literacy, and then DBE 002 is then your coding and robotics for grade R to grade 3. Okay. And others is we'll keep you updated, but we've got a couple in the pipeline for more MOOCs. All right. So so that was the sequential stuff that you can access. Oh, I forgot about short learning programs. I must put them on there. Okay. All right. So now at random, I just Googled on TEDx robotics, and there's a whole lot of real world applications of robotics. It's happening out there, and what we're doing is developing and kind of getting our learners to grapple with the basics, and we're trying to teach them the basics, the principles of programming, the fundamentals of engineering, but they need to be able to know where they're going to, and so that's where we're going to. All right, so there's quite a few really cool videos. If anybody's got a favorite, they must let me know and we'll share it. Okay. But you see also robotics is in medicine, robotics is in environment, and robotics is in farming, and robotics is in education. So each of them has got an application, and the application domain is also important. All right. And then for all our educators, I mean, how does robotics impact on your education and education in the future? So here's a couple of ideas of how we're going to do that. All right. So the third one is the resources that then support practical doing and teaching. Okay, so I introduced the virtual robotics toolkit, but there's a whole, and if anybody wants to do some research on it, please come and chat to us. We're doing how robotics can be used to enhance the teaching of physics. How can robotics be used to enhance the teaching of mathematics? Okay, so there's all those applications of robotics in education. Linked that, and this is my sweet spot, is robotics competitions. We're encouraging and creating opportunities for all learners to participate and then in at least one robotics competition. Okay, and this is where teamwork, collaboration, cooperation, imagination, innovation, all those 21st century skills just flourish when teams participate in robotics competitions. And remember, they will compete for several years, and it's those same learners that will meet each other in the university lecture halls. And they'll say, oh, I remember you. You were in that competition and you participated. And then also the play it forward model, which says if learners are competing now in robotics competitions, how do they come back and volunteer at the competitions, like competition judges, competition referees? How are they then playing back their privileges or their opportunities that have been created for them? All right. So these are some of the success stories. Anybody who's graduated from UNISA knows that the ZK Matthews is always so quiet and it's got the organ playing, except on the day that there are usually 30 robotics teams competing, and then it's just loud. Okay, so in all the robotics competitions, there's an engineering part, there's a program part, and there's a 21st century skills part. Okay, so these are some of the teams. These are my ICT Angels. They competed in 2013, 10 years ago. We've got IT specialist, a logistics manager, a CA, a doctor, and 2 engineers. And they're all girls. And yeah. And these are all the girls. These are some of the girls from Girls High. And this is the ICT, Hey, That's Us team. These are the team that won at the World Robot Olympiad for their space and innovation. Stunning bunch of young men, but that's also like nearly 10 years ago. So we do now, and we never know where it's going to go. All right. So just to introduce robotics competitions, there's always, every team member has a role. So whether you are builders or programmers, and there's always a way to solve the problems. And not all learners have got the same problem-solving skills, but you in a team together collaboratively. But I just want to emphasize this. You coach, and you mentor, but you do not do. You've got to let the learners solve the problem on their own. All right, so that's just my FYI. All right, so as I said right in the beginning of yesterday, which didn't feel so long ago, the STEMI Olympiads and competitions have got 4 clusters. And one of the clusters is robotics and coding. So that's the cluster. And so within that cluster, there are several robotics competitions. I'm going to present some of them to you now, but every competition's got an annual theme, and there are different requirements, different competitions, different requirements. What must you bring to the start of the competition? And then some competitions have got regionals and nationals and internationals, but not all competitions. So let me unpack that for you quickly. All right. So I divided it into 2 groups. The first 3 are played locally, and there's no international way to go from that. These last 3 have got regional competitions, and then national competitions, and then the national teams that qualify go internationally. And I'm happy to say we've got 4 first Lego League teams, challenge teams, going internationally. They're going to Morocco, Australia, and 2 are going to America. So very exciting stuff. And it makes us proud. We send the best of the best. We send the best robotics teams, and we've been sending them since 2009 and wowing the world. Yeah, we've got really cool kids. All right. So let me just, I'm going to unpack the first 3, and then I'll unpack the other 3. Okay. So virtual gear, you've got to build a robot, you've got to program the robot, and you've got to solve the problem. And it says using a half mat. So it's a 144 by 144 mat. And the challenge pieces I'm going to show you now are usually from a hardware store, but it's a learning opportunity, and you can compete in your classroom. And what we do have, we've got 3 categories. So the one is the local, and that's for the primary school learners who are using either Spike Prime or EV3. Then we've got the global, so that's your primary school learners with experience or your high school learners. And then we've got the open category, and that's where the microbots can come in. Any robotics kit, any programming language, and you can compete in the competition. So those are the 3 for the virtual gear competition. The really cool thing for this year is that we are introducing the mini virtual gear competition, and that will be for learners in grades 1, 2, and 3. And yes, I will share more with that just now. All right, so that's the virtual gear competition. It's available on the MOOC portal, and we are uploading all the documents by Monday, the 13th of February. All the competition is there. There's no age limit, except for the different categories. We leave it open till the end of November. And we are going to do some training sessions on the live online learning sessions. And usually we add videos of the do's and don'ts of a robot. It's kind of as a learning environment. So that's where we are. Okay, so I need to share this video. You can see it's just a plastic, and we kind of stick it down with insulation tape. And this team is quite loud. So, and this is the nuts that they're going to fetch. All right, so let me just see where they're going to do it. This robot. Oh, it's not going to play. Ah, okay. I'll play the video just now. I must need to play it with all the noise. I'll play it just now when we come out. Okay, but very loud. And this is our community team in Mamelodi. I think this is coming. All right. So the gear. This was last year's challenge. It's kind of, there's a whole lot of notes, and you've got to know what to do. It was about tubing, gone tubing, with a whole lot of tubes that the robot needed to fetch and carry. This year, this year it's more about. No, I can't tell you, but I'll let you know on Monday. Okay. That's the virtual gear competition, and you just upload your videos onto the M3 MOOC portal. All right, and I'll explain all that during the M3 sessions. I think early March is the kind of demonstration of that. So that's definitely an option. The Robothon started out as part of the Science Expo. This was our challenge. But what is important about the Robothon is that the learners are given 5 hours. You get a sheet of problems, and you've got 5 hours to solve all the problems. What happened during COVID was the Robothon then moved to a virtual. We played it in MS Teams, and we would be there the whole day. So the learners would clock on at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they would, each team would then try and solve as many missions as possible. And I'm hoping that this video is going to work. Let me just have a look. Okay. So this is some of the videos that were submitted by the teams that were participating. I'm just going to see here. Let's have a look. Yeah. So maybe you get some idea. It was all about a warehouse. Play, please. It was about a warehouse, and they needed. You must know they only built these in 5 hours. So they had to clear the warehouse floor. You can see we just use insulation tape for the competition. Okay, maybe I'll show you this video. I'll show you this video afterwards. All right, let's just continue with the presentation so far. Where are we? Here we go. All right, so that was the Robothon. I think we had 30 teams participating, and every team had a different interpretation of the problem to solve. It was all about a warehouse, cleaning a warehouse, and packing a warehouse. Okay. The third one is the Conquesta quizzes, and I see the entries closed on the 1st of May this year. The cool thing is they have a robotics quiz, one for primary schools and one for high schools. And the paper is usually formulated first in terms of there's some engineering questions, then there's some programming questions, and for both, I mean, for the both programming language, the icon based, the EV3 icon based, and the EV3 Scratch version are both used as examples. Okay. Then there's always a challenge mat in the competition, and it's usually themed around something where robotics is applied. So for this challenge, it was about agriculture, and the learners needed to imagine how a robot could go in a field. All right. And there's always an article about the application, and this was agribots, and agribots are robots into the greenhouse that can deal with many problems associated with farming. So that was the machines that work around the clock. And so there was an article, and then students needed to understand the article about robots. Okay. All right. So those are the three kind of sections that are just local. They're not international. The other three are the World Olympiad, the first Lego League, and then the first Tech Challenge. And these are really the ones that we send teams internationally. But you have to qualify. So you have to participate in the regional. And then once you participate in the regional and you qualify, you go to national. And then once you qualify at nationals for internationals, then you will represent the country. All right. So let's do let's do the first World Robotics Olympiad. They've got different categories, and I went to their website again. You can see it is very stressful. You have teams of 3 members, and not all the robots behave themselves. Okay, so I went to the website for WROSA. It's only coming out on the 15th, so that's next Thursday. Very exciting. They are going to launch it, but that's about all I could get. So what is important to know is that there are different categories, okay? So you can choose your type, which you want to do. So you can either do robot mission, which is usually a mat that you then solve all the problems, or the future engineer, the future innovators is for our school learners who want to then use the same projects, the same robotics project, for both their this competition, WRO competition, and then for their maybe science expo. Okay. The robot sports is an interesting one. We always used to be able to play soccer, and robotic soccer is a whole lot of fun. But now they've changed it. Now we play different sports. So and they say it usually changes every 2 to 3 years. I think the kids were getting too good at playing robotic soccer, but playing robotic soccer is still a whole lot of fun anyway. And then the future engineers are for our university and college students. And then, yeah, the challenge requires a team to build and document and present their solution. So whatever it is, I see we're building self-driving vehicles. It's going to be fun. All right. So, but the South Africa's also got kind of a their own in-house challenge, and it's called in-house because you can do it at your schools. There's the Explorer Challenge. There's a Rover in-house, which we use. The Rover in-house is for the WeDo's and the Lego Spike Essential Robotics. All right. There are different categories. You must just see where your team fits in. And then, of course, there's all the rules. Their theme is connecting the world. So that's going to be an interesting theme. I'm really keen to see what they're going to happen there. All right. So this is what their mats usually look like. You know, you've got a story behind it. There's a whole lot of videos that you can go and watch. Over the years, the challenges have been very daunting, very challenging, but go and have a look at some of the amazing robots that the learners, and you really need to remind yourself that the robots are built by children, not by adults. Okay. Now there's a leap from World Robot Olympiad to first Lego League. In World Robot Olympiad, there's only 3 learners in a team, and they need to build and program the robot. So I would almost say do WRO after you've done a first Lego League challenge, because there you've got 10 learners in the team, and then you build and program the robot, and you've got to do a research project. So usually linked to the theme of the competition, and teamwork is really important. Okay, so both competitions, they're both themed, they're both real world. The one has got smaller teams, the other one has got a larger team, so better for teamwork, but also it has a research project involved. All right. So we are waiting for the new theme to be released. It's coming now in April 2023. And so up until now, the challenge for last year was about superpower. It was all about energy and moving energy and wind turbines and renewable and non-renewable energy. But again, that first Lego League competition, it's themed as superpowered, and it's got 3 categories. So the challenge category is for your grades 4 to 10 learners. Your explore category is for grades 1, 2, and 3 learners, and your discover is for grades R and grade 1. It's usually just for grade R, but we can push it to grade 1 as well. And so there are your 3 different themed competitions for 3 different age groups. All right. So here's discover. Again, you have to build a model. So they have to solve a problem as a team of 4 learners, and they've got to build a model to solve a problem, and they have to explain. So we want learners to have the vocabulary to be able to explain what the problem is and how they're solving the problem. Okay, very interesting, very, very interesting to watch these kids, and also develop the confidence to explain to you as the adult how they've solved the problem. Okay, now we start the programming. So the explore is for grades 1, 2, and 3. Now we build a model that can be programmed. So something has to move. Either the wind turbine has to move, or the carousel needs to turn, or something needs to happen. Okay. And then you have a whole model. You build the whole big model to solve the problem. And they need to be able to explain that. Okay. Who lives where they move the cargo. So last year was Cargo Connect. And they were explaining how they moved cargo from here to there with the truck and with the train. And then they need to have a show me poster so the team can tell you how they solve the problem. It's really just as a backup for them to have a vocabulary. Okay, so I've told you, so these are the different themes. The one was about learning, the one was about animals, then it was a recycling. But for each of them, they've got to have a research problem and a solution. They've got to have a robot design that can do as many missions as possible in 150 seconds. And obviously the team must have a strategy for that. And then they must be able to work together graciously. I think that's about the most difficult sometimes. All right. So you've got 10 learners, 1 robot, 1 laptop. You as the teacher get a team meeting guide. There are 12 different sessions that you have to follow. The robot gets built, the project gets designed and researched and presented, and then you have the teamwork where they've got to present their values as a team. All right. And you'll notice if you start this year, you have a rookie team, you have a starting out. By next year, they have gained experience, and 3rd year and 4th year. And what we are finding in some amazing schools is that then the older learners come back and mentor the younger learners, and that's what we want. All right. I'm just wondering here. I think some of our videos are on our YouTube channel if you want to go and have a look at that. All right. Now we come to first tech challenge, and this is where it gets like really interesting, and this is really for the brave hearts. This is really brave hearts. It's for grades 8 and upwards. You will need some engineering mentoring. You will need to get the buy-in from at least 1 or 2 engineers in the community. It requires a large amount of independent working and innovation, and your teams are usually between 10 and 15 learners, because somebody has to do the finance, somebody has to do project management, time management, marketing. So it's a huge project. But everything that they've learned, they can now carry over. And so this is where we get 3D designs, we get CAD designs, we get laser cutting, and project management of all that. So for first tech challenge, I don't know if you can see, but you build these huge big robots, and then you are remote control, so that they're the remote controls and you control them, and you play as alliances. And I don't know if I've got another photo. There we go. There's a better photograph. So that's all got to be programmed. It's a whole lot of fun. But anybody who wants to pursue the first tech challenge at your school, please talk to us. That'll be awesome. All right. And last but not least, I need to come with my why bother. Okay. And I do bother because it pains me to see how my 1st year and 2nd year programming students really struggle. And again, it's not okay that our matriculants are leaving school with very limited digital skills. Okay. So there's always the perception that programming is so complex, and that science is very difficult. But our grade 1s, you guys who are teaching our grade 1s, they're our 2034 matric class. They're our science matric class. We want a larger science matric class, and I would love to have them at UNISA. I'll hand them over to my colleagues because I might be retired by then. But here's the not okay part, is that in this entire African continent, all the robotics teams in the world, we have less than 1%. and that's not okay. Not okay. Our learners can match any international team. We just need inspired coaches and mentors like you. All right, so when we started the Science Center, we had this million inspiration vision, which said we want 1 million learners to build but one robot. And so I don't know how many matriculants. How many matriculants did we have? I think we had 3 million matriculants. Well, it feels like it. Imagine if each of them could leave matric saying, "Ta-da! I've built and programmed a robot." At least one of them. And then my inspiration is that we're putting in a bid to host the Africa Open Robotics Championships in 2025. And I would love to have at least one team from every African state, but also for South Africa to have a robotics team from every education cluster. It's now. We need to start working now. And so that's my why bother, and I will keep bothering, and I will keep pursuing this. And I thank you. That's the end. Thank you very much. Anybody has any questions? More information?
Yes,
Lesotho. Hi, Lesotho.
Wow, I'm just inspired listening to you talk about 2025, and though it looks far away, but I know what you're talking about because I've been participating in some international competitions, and I know how difficult it is and how there are less and less African teams, you know. So
Okay.
it's very important that we can do something about it.
Thank you.
I'm even thinking maybe this year I might have and one FLL team and one FTC team to come to South Africa just for participation.
Yes, make it happen.
All right, thank you so much. I will talk to you, therefore. We will talk about it.
Okay, excellent. Right. Cool. Sure, there we go. Lesotho's on in the game. Anybody else got anything to add? Anybody?
So Dr. Gous, so on the chat we had a few questions. One was on the cybersecurity. So it is under construction at the moment. We are trying to find out from the creator at what time will it be available again. And we had a question from Michelle, who asked, how do you use robotics to teach mathematics?
Okay, so you know what? We're busy with the research project on that, of actually grasping the maths concepts using robotics. It's straightforward. One is you know that the circumference of a wheel is the distance that a robot will travel in one rotation. So if you're going to go forward one rotation, so that's plus 17 centimeters, and back one, so it's positive and negative, you get back to the same place. So that is a concrete example. Instead of telling kids on a number line, we're going forwards and backwards, but let the robot go forward one rotation and back one rotation, you get back to the same place. And so you've got something more concrete. That's just the grasping of concepts. But if you are interested in doing research with me, please shout. We're currently busy with robotics and physics. Some interesting stuff coming out there. Yeah. So just on that note, you will see on the M1 portal, we've got under the syllabus, we are actually going to add some materials on physics, or the basics of, because last year the Basics of Science was the National Science Week theme, and so we started a thing there. So we will upload some material as we go along. Yeah. All right. It's a fun way of learning maths as well.
Yeah. Then we also had a question on that they see only mostly of the STEM subjects. How do we get to use to get my accounting, business, and economics? How do we bring that into robotics?
That's an interesting question. Wow. Sure. I think we need to think about that one. Accounting.
And the way I think of it or can see it is, if you have an idea, on the business side is, how can you make the idea viable? How can you make it sustainable? if you come up with an idea, because that's the way something explaining how does something become viable, how do you make it sustainable, so on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and on that note, you can do robotics and art. You can use a robot to draw your name. You can use a robot. There's a challenge. It's actually on the M1. It's one of the challenges there. Build your robot to write your name. That's art. Or design your own wrapping paper. If you have a piece of, this white butcher paper, and you put 2 Cokie pens on the side of your robot, make your robot do a design, and then you design your own wrapping paper. So that's all part of robotics and art. I know we had a phenomenal young man who you could sketch robots. Yeah, I just hope that the robot stays not painted if you add a paintbrush to it. I just imagine.
We even have an art teacher here, an art teacher that says she would love to use robots for this.
We can talk. Okay. So maybe we'll do robotics and maths, and then we'll take a break and do robotics and art. And robotics and physics and robotics. You know what? We're going to be very busy this year. I am very inspired with this group. Thank you very much for that. Just FYI, for all those who've got robotics kits, never use robots and glitter.
Yeah,
it gets everywhere, and it's just absolutely disastrous. But yes, let's hear what we can do. I've got a I'm running out of paper here. Okay.
Okay, and then we have someone that wants to get involved with the research. So I've contacted a person and gave her the email address. And yeah, like I said, we also have a when you're qualified. Okay, yeah, this was regards to teaching. When you are qualified, you are able to teach from grade R to grade 10. Are you able to teach from grade R to grade 10 robotics? Okay. And like I said, there is a person that said she's an art teacher, and I'm an art teacher, and I would love to use robots.
That's awesome. Awesome. And you see, that's also a fun way of learning programming, because you're not focusing on there's so difficult programming or the so difficult science. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
If anybody has a question, please either use the hand or you can use the chat area if you want to.
So just maybe whilst you're cooking up the questions, what is also important is to say, okay, so how do I start? How okay.
When would the robotics start?
How do you want to start? Okay, so I'm going to explain how to start. All right. So I would say next week you do M1 with us. So on Tuesday and Wednesday we're going to do M1. And then you do your lessons and you teach that to your learners as well. Before M1, I would definitely think start the DBE 001 and DBE 002 to give you some context for the school. All right. So DBE 001, DBE 002, if that's done, but definitely come to our discussion classes for M1. So it's planned that we will do M1 in February, and then we will do M2 in March and M3. And so I will introduce M3, the competition. And then so that's the end of term 1. And then you've got enough learning to take your team through a virtual robotics or a virtual gear robotics competition in term 2. All right. So then you are ready for that. And then you can do the first Lego League competition launches the first week in August, and you'll be ready for your regional competitions in October and November. So that's the one line that you can do. Otherwise, you could also do virtual gear up until the end of the second term, and then you can do World Robot Olympiad. You can do that as well.
May you please send this information via WhatsApp?
Yes, we can. Are you connected to our to one of the WhatsApp group? Did you use the link?
Okay. I can put it on the chat. All right, so everybody who wants to, it's easier if you send us an email. So I'm just going to say at term one, you do M1 and M2. You do all that learning. There are lesson plans and there are learning activities. And then term 2, you do M3. And then term 4 and term 5. Term 4, term 5. Term 3 and 4, you do first Lego League. There we go. Or you can do, you can also do term 3 and 4. 3 and 4, you can also do WRO. Here we go. All right. I will give you the dates. If you have teams that were just on a okay. I'm just Anzani, would you send a WhatsApp link again?
We have sent it, Doctor.
Oh, there we go. There's the WhatsApp link again for those who need the WhatsApp link.
Okay. And I see we have a hand from Herbert, if you want to maybe unmute.
Hi, Herbert. No? Is Herbert not unmuting? I think what's also important is that there are teaching aids for you online for downloadable. So you can start, and with M1 we do building and programming and attachments and navigation, but there are lesson plans there as well that you can download if you need them. Yeah, and also to be part of the WhatsApp, be part of the online community when we have our discussions.
So, Dr. Gous, we did have a question from, I think, from Odette, that did wanted to know about what teaching material resources are there for the intermediary schools.
Sorry, intermediate is from grade 4 to grade 10, or when? Sorry, I'm not.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so the foundation phase lesson plans are available on DBE 002. Okay, under syllabus, there are all the lesson plans there. And okay, I see Tumelo is in demand to join DBE 001. How to get onto? I wonder whether Tumelo wants to quickly come and give a demonstration. Okay, intermediate is grade 4 to grade 6. So with the intermediate, you can definitely use M1 content. So M1, M2, M3, there are lesson plans. We're going to upload them. There's lesson plans, and when we do next week, you'll come to the class. We will teach you. You will listen to the class discussions, and you can go automatically and go and teach your learners. Okay, so foundation, intermediate, and senior phase. It's been a long time since I've been at school. And FET is grade 10 to 12. Thank you very much. So here's my dream. If we can have for the FET learners, if we can add the first tech challenge, so they can design their own robots with laser cutting and 3D printing. They have remote controls. I think it'll be just makes school really fun if we can design our own robots. If we have teams of learners at school as part of their designing robots, it's like, oh, so cool. All right, so I'm going to hopefully have a growth in number of teams joining the first tech challenge. That'll be awesome. Okay.
Dr. Gous, I see Herbert try to unmute now.
Oh, Herbert, yes. Herbert and Biba. Hi.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Yes. I just wanted to know the types of robots that we see. Some very expensive ones. We see others which are a little bit very cheap, affordable. Can we grab maybe those that are within reach and start using, or they are specific and advanced ones that we need to use?
Okay, so we do have loan robotics kits to kickstart your robotics at your school. All right. And basically it boils down to whether you have a robotics kit that you invest in and you use it multiple times. So I'm using the same robotics kits that I invested in 12 years ago. I'm still using it to teach robotics. Or you have a once-off, you buy the components every year, you just keep spending money on the same things. So that is the economics of buying a robotics kit. Is either you're investing in something and using it over and reuse and recycle, or you spend an amount, exactly the same amount every year. So that's kind of where you are in your planning, Herbert. But if you'd like to loan the kits and see whether it works in your school, you are very, very welcome. Okay. I've lost Herbert again. Aye.
I think my network.
Are you there? Yes. Okay.
Yes, also, no, I just say that I think that will be a better option. But what I wanted to know is when you look at the price differences, does it matter which one? Because if you look at some of them, they are very expensive, and you can actually see a 99 Rand, a 100 Rand one. Can those ones be used, or they are just for simple things, they can't be used for this program?
Yeah, you can use them. Yes, you can use them. All right. And my opinion is that we at least need to start. But in your planning,
Okay.
you need to say, are we going to just do it once off and then we're going to throw the things away? Or are we investing in a long-term plan for our school?
All right.
Because what I would like to have at every high school or every FET school is to have a robotics laboratory where you build robots.
Yeah.
So you use the same equipment,
Okay.
you invest, and maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but you're investing in equipment for your robotics laboratory.
All right. Yeah, it's quite clear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. So the robotics kits that I use, I mean, I bought them 12 years ago. They work for all the learners that I've taught. It works out about 50 cents a learner.
Oh, okay.
But I still have the kits. I'm still using them. Yeah.
And in terms of the kits, are there any parts that are maybe worn out and you have to replace or so?
No, no. As long as the children don't chew them, then I'm happy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And that's also part of ownership. The learners need to realize that it's not theirs, it doesn't belong to them. And if they are going to lose pieces, then they are disadvantaging the learners that are coming behind them. And we don't want that.
Yeah.
So it always is a robotics must be very organized. Your kits must be organized. You must start, being organized is kind of where we are. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to meeting you, Herbert. I don't know where you are. Okay. How did the holiday Natal. We are there at the end of February. Okay.
Oh, where? At the Science Center?
Herbert, we're coming to the Pietermaritzburg regional office, the UNISA regional office, for 3 days, 28th of February, 1st and 2nd of March. And then we are going to Impangeni. And that's Saturday, the 4th of March. We are hosting a robotics competition with Becky Manzi.
That's the closest to me. Impangeni is 105 kilometers away from us.
Are we going to see you there?
So that's the closest. I will make a plan.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent.
So Impangeni is what date is Impangeni?
4th of March. Okay. Excellent.
4th of March. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Right.
And Dr. Gys, we are also, yeah.
All right. I saw that flashed up Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape, we have got a plan. We're just need approval for which venue we're going to use. Okay, I'll let you know. Okay. The Holiday Robotics Club. The Holiday Robotics Club idea works very well. We had one in October, Chock-a-block. It's amazing that learners can have so much fun. And Aletta, Free State, I'm going to phone you. Aletta, I've spoken to you before. Okay. I'll tell you, Aletta. All right. The holiday program, if you have a venue that can host a robotics holiday club, stunning. Even if you just work, say, from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock, that could definitely work. Because then you're not in the school, you're not in the school system, but you're getting kids that really want to learn. So I know that we've had a science where a science center brings the learners to the science center, and then now eventually the schools around are saying, okay, we want to go there as well. Right. All right. Okay. Where am I? Here I am.
Okay. So we also have person that says, I'm interested because the Free State is close to us.
Great. Great. Okay. So, and I've got Aletta's, I know I've spoken to Aletta on an email before. So Aletta, I'm grateful for you. Yes. I'm going
there were 3 people who were trying to say, and we also have one from USEC that wants to ask, when is Cape Town?
We need to go and check our list. We've just got approval for KZN, but I must go and see how far all the other approvals are. Okay, cool. I think I must give up my day job. All right. Okay. Anybody else got anything else? Anything else?
Yeah, we went to, so I can maybe add, last year we went to, for National Science Week, we went to the Free State, to Koffiefontein and to Zastron. And which other province, districts in Free State, Dr. Gous?
No, just that. And then afterwards we went on a separate trip back, and Cabello and Tumelo went. I don't know which district. There was another district that invited us back. So that was really cool. That was really cool. All right. So I'm kind of saying we've not that we've run out of questions, but I think we have had a very, very exceptional, busy session here. Oh, you want to come visit us? Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, oh my goodness, we really need to get our year schedule out. Okay. I want to see. Well, if you all are, I'm going to say, Anzani, if everybody's on the educator training group, WhatsApp group, we will put out the dates when we're hosting it. Yes, it is possible to visit the UNISA Science Engagement Center. We are on the Science Campus in Rudderport in Florida. We would love to have you visit us. We do some Saturday workshops, just not this February. I think we start in March with weekend workshops, and we'd love to have you there. It'll be great. All right. Maybe just as a closing, I'm going to show you the Robothon video. I'm going to let it run to the end, and I'll tell you where this came from. So in the 5 hours that the learners have, they get a challenge. So it was the challenge was a warehouse, and they needed to pack things and fetch things and collect things and go around and clear the floor. So they got a whole list of things that their robot needed to do. But they submit the videos online, and we just thought that these kids are it was on a public holiday, so it was on the 24th of September last year, but they have created the most amazing designs. Now you must know these learners are on their own. There's no teachers. They get a spec at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they have till 3 o'clock to run their robots and submit their videos, and what's in is in, and what's not in is just but I really need to, and that's why I want to show you the video. I want to acknowledge the incredible work of our learners who are willing to push their learning boundaries, and not to say, well, I don't know anything about this, but are willing to try something. So some of the robots didn't always work, all right? Some of the robots went a little bit chaotic. Some of the robots, they kind of did what they had to do. And I think right at the end, there's a robot that just falls over. It is really cute. But the learners that participate in robotics competitions, they develop And I can't measure it. For all the research, I can't measure it. But I want to tell you, they have a confidence. They are pushed beyond their limits. They are required to problem solve beyond what they know. And I am really pleading with you to be the inspired coaches, to say, I will create the opportunity for the learners that are in my care, at least for this year, and have maybe a 3-year plan, work with some colleagues, work with a long-term plan, maybe participate in 1 competition this year, and then next year we'll do 2 competitions, but really to have a plan to get these kids inspired. All right, so on that note, let me just quickly draw up the link that I had here. And let me just show you so this is some of the submissions for the 2022 Warehouse Challenge for the Robothon, and it's going to start playing. Does it play with sound, by the way?
We just have to select include computer sound, then it will play the sound, Doctor.
Okay, so let me just quickly stop this. So I must say share with sound.
Correct.
It doesn't have me that option.
It's when you just press the button, it will give you that option, Doctor.
Okay. Oh, with system audio. Okay, I obviously. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, where's my video? Yeah, there we go. Can you see the video?
Yes, I can hear it also.
There we go. We added the music, of course. You can see there's the timer. I'm just going to stop the video there. Do you get the idea that there's no right answer? There are lots of teams trying different ideas, but they're all working to solve the problem. And the learners aren't working together. There are teams working at different centers throughout South Africa, but each team and each team had their own idea, and they were able to solve the problem. All right. So I'm going to share. I'm just going to put the link on the chat as well. You can watch it right to the end, but use it as an inspiration. These kids had no idea that in the morning when they woke up what problem they're solving. They just they each came up with their own idea, and so it was really cool. And we had a lot of fun judging them, but we also had a lot of fun just being inspired by their own ideas. And that is what we want. All right. So if there's no more questions, I am Casper, are there any more questions?
So there is one person that did ask. They joined the meeting only today and they missed yesterday, and they got this link from Tshwane South, the technology facilitator from Tshwane South.
Okay, cool. All right. So
Yes.
So you're welcome to join. We're doing one next week. We're hoping to have some practical sessions. We will also be we'll be presenting it from the Robotics Hub. And so we will have some, hopefully Anzani and Tumelo and Kabela will be there to actually build the robots as we go along, which will be fun. But yes, we've got to start the journey. It's now. Time is now. All right. And if there are any other questions, you are more than welcome to ask. Anzani and Tumelo do live in the mailbox. Casper has got all the links and has everything recorded, and so you are very welcome to learn and enjoy 2023 with us as we pursue this vision to upskill our learners to thrive in their future. It's not about us, it's about their future. All right. And thank you very much. Thank you, team. Thank you, team, for being here. And may it go really well with you. And we'll see each other very soon. Anzani has, if you want to join the teacher WhatsApp group, you're welcome to join that. Anzani manages that. And we will definitely communicate when we're in all the different regions, and we're really looking forward to meeting you wherever we are. All right. Thank you, team. Thank you very much.